Hey there, you wonderful listeners. I have a question for you. Do you want to make a podcast? Well, Spotify's got a platform that lets you make one super easily and then distribute it everywhere and even earn money all in one place and for free. How can you beat that? It's called Spotify for Podcasters. And here is how it works. Spotify for Podcasters lets you record and edit podcasts right from your phone or computer. So no matter what your setup is like, you can start creating today. Then you can distribute your podcast to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are heard. Video podcasts are also available on Spotify. And when you want to take conversations with your fans to the next level, there are Q&A and poll options available, and those are the best way to get them talking. With Spotify for Podcasters, you can earn money in a variety of ways, including ads and podcast subscriptions. And best of all, it's totally free with no catch. Ever since I've discovered Spotify for Podcasters, it has made doing my shows like the Steam Machine Podcast, Yabs Pod, and the JRPG Report much, much easier to do. Like being able to just go on there, record them, upload it, boom, it's done. I don't have to pay for a site service to host or anything like that. It's fantastic. So I highly recommend that you give it a try. Download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started today. Hey everybody, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Steam Machine Podcast. My name is Dalton, and joining me this week is the wonderful, the wily, the mega ultra villain mustache man himself.
Yo, what's up? It's Willie. My brother is off this week because he is a guest host and does not have to be here. He doesn't answer to you.
Yes, he finally decided to take advantage of that, being just the guest host when he wants to be, and decided to take a week or two off and chill. And I think he's wanting to focus more on doing some streams and stuff, which, speaking of, let's touch on that right at the top of the fucking show. Homeboy did a really good PB for Predator here recently. Do you want to talk about that?
Absolutely. So he's actually taken some time off. He's been kind of overextended lately. You know how everyone in the pandemic signed themselves up for a bunch of stuff just to meet people, just to have some time with people. And he was like, I'm going to take a minute off. I'm going to just do my own thing.
Yeah.
And then he decided, let's get back. He took a week off streaming. This is not the only thing he's taken time off of. He took a week off streaming, came back, and immediately got a personal record on Predator for the Nintendo, the game that he speedruns. And not only that, but this dude drops he was trying to get a less than 18-minute run of the game. He drops that. But then in the same run, he gets about, 2 seconds underneath the number 3 player in the world. He is the new number 3 universal world best. The third best in the world at Predator. And I'm absolutely proud of him. Like, I was there in the chat, and he was getting gold splits left and right, and I'm like, there's no way. But I can't curse him. I can't chat. I'm just going to be quiet. I'm going to let him play it out. And he did it.
I mean, I felt bad because I lurked for that stream, but I put it on and then I put on YouTube and went to bed. So because my sleep schedule's been super fucked up. But when I woke up and saw all of that, I was like, oh, fucking righteous, dude. Fucking righteous.
I'm so happy for him, man. He's been playing that game. He's been grinding it really hard. It's a game with, it's got some cool people in the community. The number 1 guy's been, innovating things over the last couple of years. The number 2 guy is the moderator that verified his run less than 5 hours after he submitted it. I think it's Kennelope Me is the name of the guy that verified it. And that guy just basically immediately was like, no, I've got to put this on here. He not only that, but he actually double checked the run, frame counted it, and realized Nate undersold himself and actually it was a second shorter than what Nate said it was when he submitted the time.
Well, hell yeah.
Like, that's so cool. Like, and the fact that they have that much community, and even a small game like Predator that doesn't have a huge speedrunning community, but the people that are in it are so cool like that. Like, I love it.
Yeah. And I know Nate has taken to give me shit about Stanley because I give him shit about playing Stanley and the Search for Dr. Livingston. I watched the speedrun video for that game today. There's one on there, and it's like 30-something minutes long. That game's way longer than I thought. Because I've never beaten it. Because like when I used to play it, I was a kid, and I could never figure out how to beat it. But I assumed it was shorter than it is. I was impressed that there's at least 30 minutes worth of running through it that you can do. So I was like, that's intriguing.
I genuinely have no idea what that game's about, what it's like. I mean,
So
I know one thing that's about. I'm guaranteeing you that Dr. Livingston may appear in that game at one point. Aside from that, no idea.
You're like a little dude, and you have like a little helichopper thing that you can, like when you jump, if you're going down, you can kind of hit it, and it'll float you down. You can like find a machete. It's a strange game. I know about it because I had it as a kid, and
I do think it's fun that that's your white whale, because it's the stupidest white whale ever.
Yeah, it is. I love it.
Let's see. What else do I have going on? Last week I mentioned I've been playing Doom, Pistol Start, Ultraviolence, Fast Monsters. Literally no progress. I've been stuck on E2M6 for a while, because I play a couple days. I basically play like 2 or 3 runs, and if I get killed, I'm just like, whatever, I'm done. I've had so many heartbreaking runs where I'm at least 10 minutes into the run, and I have like 80 out of the 116 or so monsters dead, and then I just run a little too far forward, goof up one of the late plays in the game, and just can't finish it out. So I'll talk about it next week, because I want to get into speedrunning too, and I thought familiarizing myself with the levels in my favorite game would be fun. So I would do that, and then I would do some streams of me playing Doom in speedrunning each level in Pistol Start, but not with Fast Monsters, just to try to get the par times. But good God, this level is it's whipping my ass. Like with Fast Monsters, the melee monsters, the demons, the picky demons, and the lost souls really get much more powerful, especially in like narrow corridors. You can easily get pinned down, and that's just what's been happening to me.
Man, I don't know how you're going to be able to do that. I respect the shit out of it, because I just know when I played Doom 2, God, I'm so bad. I'm so bad at that. So bad. So
it's not an easy game. I mean, it's kind of easy a little bit by today's standards if you have modern FPS skills. Some of it's transferable, but like it still doesn't get easy. It never gets easy. It just gets manageable.
Well, I wish you the best of luck, sir, and I look forward to watching you do that. Be sure to let everyone know in the Discord. I'm sure our listeners will pop in and watch you do some streaming.
Well, I mean, I don't expect me to stream this week, because
no rush.
I still need to finish that UV Fast run. I might not even do episode 4. I might just do the first 3 eps and then start streaming. But I've still got episode 2 maps 6, 7, 8, and then all episode 3. So 11 maps to go. So.
Well, I look forward to it whenever you decide to do it, sir. This week I was playing some Oblivion, and my game crashed, which is nothing out of the ordinary with the older Bethesda games. So I was like, all right. So I loaded it back up, went in, was playing a little more, crashed again. I'm like, all right, this is crashing a little often, but that's okay. Loaded it back out, went to load my save, told me my save was corrupted.
Oh no!
So I was like, oh fuck, good thing I was only 10 hours into this playthrough. So I'm probably gonna have to start over again, but I'm gonna have to go and look at my mod list and see what could have possibly fucked it up and made it crash so much. Because I used the...
That's ghastly, bro.
Yeah, it sucks, but it's okay. I hadn't done a lot of major stuff other than just exploring some random caves. I think I was level 4, so it's not super bad. It's salvageable. But that's what you get with those old Bethesda games when you're trying to fuck with them with mods and stuff. It's hit and miss. I probably just added one that conflicted with one other one, and it caused a whole bunch of fucking problems. That's usually how it goes.
A resonance cascade, as you will.
So, sir, I know people can't see you right now, but you have quite the villainous mustache going on, and I have to say I love it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Half of my mind wants to upload a picture of it to show people what we're talking about. The other half says I'd rather just kind of be an embarrassed shade. So I had a full beard that I'd been growing for about 2 months. And it had been going really well, but I thought I wanted to trim it up a little bit. So I thought of making more of a chin strap shape. I thought I'd take an electric shaver to the sideburns and then kind of bring it, round it off on the chins or on the cheek side. And I cut so deeply into the sideburn that I realized there's no continuous beard here anymore. We're just going to have to operate. So I thought about cutting it down into like the classic Van Dyke, the classic mustache goatee circle beard combo. And then I did do that, and then I realized, but what if? And so I cut off a little bit of hair between the mustache and the goatee, and I don't know. I thought I would look like a Dutch painter or something. Like I'd look like Rembrandt or some shit. People who have seen me have asked me questions like, "So where's the third musketeer?"
Oh man, you know who?
But I'm kind of leaning into it too, because the reason I grew the beard in the first place was because I wanted to grow a stupid pointy mustache. And I mean, this is where I'm at now. I've shaved it. Now I've got the stupid pointy mustache. It's just the compromise goatee is really bad.
I dig it, man. To me, you remind me of evil Dante from Clerks. You know what I mean? Like,
wow, that.
And I don't mean that in a bad way, but like, you know how so Dante's got like the goatee and stuff, right? But you're like the evil version of him because you've got the twisty mustache, like the villain, like Wario to the, I don't know what they were, War Dante. I love it.
Yeah, I'm Wante.
Yeah, Wante. There you go. I love it, man. I think it looks awesome. I wish I could grow a mustache.
I was supposed to be here today, and yet I didn't show up.
That's fucking perfect. I wish, dude. I mean, you see my shitty little dirt stash. Like, I ain't got nothing. So I wish I had a majestically twistable mustache like that. So I commend you.
I appreciate that. It did goof me up, though. I mean, like, I was a little sad about it. I'm still like, the main comfort I have right now is when I'm out in public. Most of the time, I can just slap a classic COVID mask over it, and now no one can see my stupid facial hair. Like, it works real nice.
Yeah, that's one thing I like about masks is because, like, my bottom teeth are all fucked up. They're, like, not straight at all.
Yeah.
So, like, when I wear the mask, I'm like, oh, yeah, people can't see my fucked up bottom teeth. Even though, like, I doubt people really notice. But
nobody cared about my dentistry till I put on the mask, Batman.
Yes.
Oh, man, speaking of older episodes, though, I mean, we talked about some facial hair shit before, but... So on the Fallout 3 episode part 2, at the end, because of an Easter egg in that episode, you put a Fear Factory song in at the end credits. And I just gotta say, man, that song was actually quite good. Archetype by Fear Factory, I really enjoyed that. It was not a band I got into when they were current, but I could see myself getting into it. So yeah, privately, I've asked you, send you a request to like send me some more good Fear Factory songs. And we'll see what you got.
Yeah, for sure. Fun fact about that song, that was the first album after they split with their original guitar player. And the lyrics where he says, "The infection has been removed, the soul of this machine is improved," is actually about the issues that the guitar player was causing, which is weird because now like that guitar player is back with the band and there's still issues between him and the singer, but they still, I don't know. It's a very strange relationship that Fear Factory has.
Clearly the Van Halen of bands that can actually play hard music.
Yeah, there you go. I do know that coming up sometime in early next year, my buddy Dustin's wanting to go to a show. I think it's like Fear Factory, Dope, Static X, and Mushroomhead.
Holy shit, that is the most 1999 lineup, 2002 lineup I've ever heard.
Yeah, right? That's what we were like, oh my god, that's a nostalgia flow. And I think if I go see...
How did Seven Dust not just materialize on that poster?
Oh man, fucking Seven Dust, holy shit.
I've never heard a single Seven Dust song. Every single lineup, every single CD that had like a bunch of different things, every festival lineup, every compilation, Seven Dust was always on all of them. I don't get it. I don't get how it happened.
I like one Seven Dust song, and I will send it to you when I send you the Fear Factory stuff because it's really good, and I can't name another fucking song by them, but I really like this one song.
This is going to be the dumbest episode, I swear to God.
It's all good. I love it already.
dumb is my forte. If you haven't noticed, talking to me over the past few months.
Fair enough.
While I'm thinking about it, I want to give a quick shout out to our $10 tier Patreons, Mr. Nate, Mr. Jeffy Lube. I'm gonna call him Jeffy Lube, even though it's Mr. Jeff. And then you have Mr. Aries or Adam. I would like to thank you, gentlemen, for being the cogs in the machine. And I would also like to say just a blanket thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. We appreciate the fuck out of all you guys.
Yes, like, seriously, it means so much that you guys listen to us say this dumb bullshit, and yet you still think, you know what? Not only do I think this should keep happening, I want to encourage it.
Yeah, I know, right? It baffles me that people enjoy us enough to throw some duckies at us, but we appreciate it. Before we hop into the game, do you want to touch on the schedule for the month? I know we're kind of doing things a little different this time.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, so we actually are not going to use our short game at all this month. We've had, I think, Ubermosh Volume 5 for like more than 2 months, and it's still not going to come up in October because we are in spooky season, y'all. And I just want to tell y'all, we got a great lineup of episodes to share with you. So, without further ado, I think, yes, these days.
Yeah, I was going to say, it would be today.
So, today is September the 30th. That is today. Should be earlier for Patreon, but I think you're not going to get a big bonus this time around. Sorry, Patreon.
That's my bad.
But we're going to be doing today's episode. Well, I didn't do great with the episode either. Trails Part 1. Then next week, we're using my Heart of the Cards. I've put my interrupts down, and we're going to do a game that is suitably spooky and part of my brand. That's right, y'all. We are entering the survival horror element of the Doom series. We are doing Doom 3.
Yeah.
Release date, October 7th. Then, next week, please.
I was just going to say, that was my first Doom game. So, you can imagine my surprise when I played all the other Doom games, and they were not like Doom 3. So, it'll be fun to go back to that.
Meanwhile, I'm only going the reputation of that. So, I haven't played the slower, spookier Doom. I'm more used to it being about speed and dodging and all that. Mm-hmm. Then, October 14th, we will be putting out the second part of Trails. So, give a little bit more time to play this game, which I'm not going to spoil too much, but I think we're having a good time with. Then, the week after that, that's when we're going to start deviating from the script a little bit. Yep. Because we're getting closer to October the 31st, the great good spooky day that we all love, Samhain or Halloween, All Hallows Eve, you all know what I'm talking about. And so, one of this last year's big spooky games that's been a multiplayer sensation, and not everyone on this podcast has had the joy to play,
Mr.
Phasmophobia.
Yes, and
Phasmophobia is a simulated ghost hunting game that's multiplayer and really awesome. And I'm looking forward to getting Dalton on, and we actually have a special guest lined up for that week. So we will talk more about that as we get closer to it.
Yes.
We're going to do 4-player games of that to get into it.
Yeah.
And then
I was going to say, I look forward to that because I bought Phasmophobia to play with the Game Buds, and then I think the next week after that we decided to play Among Us or something like that again, and it ended up just being where Phasmophobia never really came up again. So I've just been sitting on it and haven't played it, so it'll be fun. I look forward to it.
And then the week after that we're doing a special, which is this was my idea, so I'm sorry if I'm stealing the schedule because again, good God, the short game week is still booted by another couple weeks, but
it'll be all right.
I wanted to do a special, and so I'm calling it the Free Creepy Creekers Week. And what Free Creepy Creekers Week is just freeware horror games that have been released for the PC. Games like I'm Scared.exe, games like Slender, all these weird... We got several more we got lined up. I don't want to spoil all of them, but we're going to, and those might not even be on the list. Who knows? But, we're going to play a bunch of these freeware short horror games and discuss all of them. And, I mean, that just feels good going into that last week of horror, right?
For sure. I agree. And I I fucked around today and made a rap song about one of the particular styles of game that we might play. So I might end that episode with that song. I haven't
Oh,
quite decided yet because you're the only person who's heard it so far, Willie. So
I did enjoy it. It's going to confuse a lot of people, but I'm not opposed to that.
yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I don't know if I will yet. I don't know if I've got the balls to release that yet.
It might need a little bit more time in the oven, but if you want to put it out there, I ain't gonna yell at you about it.
But it should be a good time. I think that will bring us in to the game of the week, my good sir, and that would be Trails in the Sky, which is part of The Legend of Heroes, which I happen to have pulled up the obligatory Wikipedia bullshit.
Going right into it. I love it.
And according to Wikipedia, The Legend of Heroes Trails in the Sky, originally released in Japan as The Legend of Heroes 6 Sora no Kaseki, is...
Hold on.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Because that jumped out to me as well, because I was unaware of that. Is a role-playing game developed by Nihon Falcom, later published as Trails in the Sky FC, the game, which stands for First Chapter. The game is in...
First chapter 6.
Right. The game is the first in what would later become known as the Trails series. Itself is a part of the larger Legend of Heroes series. Here's another thing that I found interesting. Trails in the Sky was first released in Japan for Microsoft Windows in 2004. It was then ported to PlayStation Portable, PSP, in 2006, which is the version that I knew of being the first version was the PSP. And then because North American video game publisher Xseed acquired the rights from Falcom but did not release it until 2011 due to the game's large amount of text that needed to be translated and localized. And then they did a high-definition port to the PS3 in 2012 and a remaster for the Vita in 2015. It's all over the place. But I do think that the PC version nowadays that you can get is the PlayStation 3, but it might be the Vita version. I'm not 100% sure, but it's one of those two.
Huh, okay.
Now, what you reacted to, which is what I also reacted to when I first read this, is that this is Legend of Heroes 6. I was under the impression that this was the beginning of the story.
Yeah, same.
Nay. There are different sagas. So there's the Dragon Slayer saga, which consists of Dragon Slayer 1 and 2, and they came out. The first Dragon Slayer came out in 1989 for the NEC PC-8801.
What? This... I'm sorry, hold it. You said 19... Can I get that next digit real quick?
89.
This series has been out since the 80s.
Yes. Dragon Slayer was the first Legend of Heroes game. It was also ported to the TurboGrafx 16 at one point.
Hold on. The 80s. Like, okay, so this game is like secretly like is it a reboot or a new story in that You know what? I'll let you continue your story. Tell us more.
So those are the first two, and I think that was it for a while, because it looks like the next game in the series that came out is The Legend of Heroes 3, Prophecy of the Moonlight Witch. Now, this game apparently is a remake of the original, and then there's like some continuity. Goddamn. Took me long enough to get that word right. There's some continuity confusion on the series because the fourth game in the series, which is a Tear of Vermilion, was released before 3 in the US, but these are all PSP games. So it was a big jump from back in the day up until coming out on PSP. But there's 3 games in what they call the Gag Harv trilogy, which is Prophecy of the Moonlight Witch, Tear of Vermilion, and Cage Song of the Ocean. That brings us to the Trails series, which is Trails in the Sky, Trails in the Sky SC, which is second chapter, Trails in the Sky the third, the 2 that have not been released over here yet, Zero no Kaseki and Ao no Kaseki, and then you get into Trails of Cold Steel 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the Trails series is massive just by that, and it's all.
I am.
Oh, go ahead.
so goddamn lost.
Yeah. Sorry, it's super convoluted, right?
When you said of Vermilion, is that related to the game Sword of Vermilion, or is that a different game entirely?
I believe that's different, but I thought of the same thing when I first read it.
Jesus. I thought that you told me this was the first game in this series. So this is the first Trails of game, but the series existed before Trails of, and this is game 6 in that series, which is what's the broader series?
The Legend of Heroes.
The Legend.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Legend of Heroes is the broader spectrum. The Trails series starts with Trails in the Sky. So I'm most interested in the Trails series. I plan on checking out the other games, but I'll do that in my own time. But
okay, you know what? I can deal with this. So I thought I was in the first year of a program, but it turns out I'm not grade 1 in school. I'm like a freshman in college or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm in the first tier of a set of tiers within this.
Yeah, there are in the Trails series. There's 9 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 2 of them haven't come out over here yet, though.
But this is the first of those.
Yes. This is the very first story. Okay. This starts with Estelle and Joshua, who are the main characters of this game. So which that kind of can lead us into the actual game itself. Really cool opening scene, anime style. A little strange looking in some places. I think your notes had mentioned something about that. You were wondering if it was your settings, maybe. I think something about the 2D sprites with the anime looked a little strange to you.
Yeah, so the game's main graphical style uses 2D sprites and 3D environments, which I think looks great in the game engine. But there was this opening cutscene that's very anime, and it uses 3D rendered backgrounds with 2-dimensional cell art, which I think is a look that can look really good. I think that's how they got some of those really great looking scenes in Cowboy Bebop and shit like that. 3-dimensional backgrounds and spin it around. Animated really wildly, but in this it's more almost like a slideshow character slides forward over top of a 3D background, and I didn't think that it worked. I thought my resolution was messed up, but it turns out this game was released for PC, so they probably should have expected many different resolutions. So I don't think that's it. I think maybe it's just a dated looking cutscene.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, given that it was originally released in 2002, I give it a little.
So this is a 20-year-old game, and also, I'm going to go ahead and say this. If you told me this game came out in 1999, I would have believed it, a slightly upscaled PlayStation 1 game. If you told me this game came out in 2012, and it was just a really retro aesthetic, I would have also believed that.
Yeah, there's something comforting is the word that I always come to. It gives me the warm fuzzies. There's something about that graphical style, and I felt the same way this week when I loaded up Siberia. And it was, the 3D character models with those pre-rendered backgrounds. There's just something so beautiful to me about how good they could make those pre-rendered backgrounds look.
Siberia is the opposite, though. That's pre-rendered 2D backgrounds with 3D models. This game, on the other hand, is 3D live backgrounds with billboarded 2D sprites, which, again, that is an art style I absolutely love. What that reminded me of immediately was Dragon Warrior 7 for the PlayStation 1 and Final Fantasy Tactics for the PlayStation 1. Both of them are beautiful games. And that whole genre of art style is, again, I've said this before, my favorite video game is Doom 2. It is a game that uses 2D billboarded sprites with 3D rendered areas, I love that. It's a great aesthetic, and it really immediately captured my heart.
Yeah, and I think it works really well in this game for sure.
Absolutely.
Now, your introduction to the main characters is Estelle is a little girl, and she's waiting for her dad to come home, but he's late, and she's complaining, which you will notice that happens a lot as you play. So the dad comes home.
Not a patient person.
Yeah, no, not at all. Her dad comes home, and he says he's got a gift for her, and it's a boy.
It's a full-ass, live-ass boy.
Yeah, he's just it's a boy. And she asks him, why is my present a boy? And he's like, well, I just figured you need a brother. Or, he found the kid, and it's I don't want to I couldn't just leave him there to die or whatever.
Yeah, that's the rough what we get from it. Like, we don't know exactly what happened. There is something that implies that maybe they have a bit more backstory, because the boy wakes up just long enough to address your dad, Cassius Bright, by name. It's like, Cassius Bright, what are you doing? And then he passes back out.
And then Estelle jumps on him. Like, he's like hurt, and she just jumps on top of him, and she's like, quit yelling. And then he's like, ow, why did you do that? And she jumps on him again. She's like, I said quit yelling. Like, I'm like, that's hardcore, man. It's like,
yeah.
What if he's got broken ribs? Like, that'd be so painful.
But so it implied that they grow up for the next, 5 years as adoptive brother and biological sister.
Yeah. Yeah, they kind of, it flashes forward to Estelle waking up and wondering if he's awake, and then you hear him playing harmonica.
The fact that he played harmonica is so cool. Like, I've got to say, I really enjoyed the soundtrack of this game a lot so far. Like, the audio has been really good, but I know that harmonica track is going to come back again.
I feel like Falcom games always have really good soundtracks, because I look at Ys, and the Ys games have killer soundtracks, and I'm pretty sure that's Falcom as well.
I'm going to say, so far, my favorite song in the soundtrack, when you get to an area called the Malga Mine, there's this 6/8 jazz waltz time signature track that just absolutely slaps. It sounds so good.
So the general gist of the beginning of the game, and this is just the first thoughts. So I told Willie, I said, let's just beat the prologue, and let's just get the beginning of the game, and we'll touch on that, and then we'll spend the next few weeks diving deeper and getting real deep into it. And so in the beginning, basically,
yeah, we should actually mention what the kids are up to. What do they do?
They are they want to become junior bracers.
So the dad that we mentioned earlier that brought the kid home is a bracer, and a well-regarded one, apparently. He's famous. His name is Cassius Bright, which is that's a
hero name, dude.
It's very
I am
heroic.
Cassius Bright. I am here to save the day.
I am from Chex Squadron, and I volunteer. There's a joke for all the Chex Quest fans out there.
But yes, he is quite the large man compared to the other two. He just looks like he'd be. I'm trying to picture him in my head. I feel like he'd be 6'4", just not muscly, but definitely in shape, kind of an older guy,
or maybe
even muscly.
Maybe he's not even 6'4". Maybe it's just when you're a kid and you look up and you think that guy is a mountain of a man.
That's true. He might even be 5'10".
You know what I mean?
But it's just wow. He's, but they really look up to him, and no pun intended. They definitely admire Cassius, and they want to be like him, and he is a bracer, which is the best way I can describe it is what it reminds me of is in Final Fantasy VIII, they remind me of seeds.
I was having a lot of trouble trying to figure out what a bracer was, and I in my notes, I think, what did I write exactly? Hold on. I made a note with a million slashes in it, I think. God damn it, where is it? Oh, I must have deleted that apparently. But I thought a bracer was something between a mercenary and a peacekeeper and a policeman and a knight and a whole bunch of different things. Oh, there it is. I thought it was paramilitary ? Mercenary ? Peacekeeper. What exactly are they? But they're respected. They're members of the community. They're well known in their own area, and they're well known as the people that get shit done. They're the get shit done crew.
Yeah. Maybe Elder Scrolls would be they're almost like the Fighters Guild. If you've got a problem, you can go and report it to the Bracers Guild, and they'll post it up on their little billboard.
They have a literal bulletin board.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I could not think of the word bulletin. Yeah, they have a bulletin board there, and you just kind of walk up to it and click it, and there'll be little jobs that you can take. There's a monster on a certain road they need you to go take care of, or you need to go speak to somebody because they have a lost cat. Just different shit like that. It's basically your side quest generator, but it also handles your bracer rank as you go through. And if you're trying to achieve getting the highest bracer rank, then you gotta knock out those missions. But
before we even get to that, let's talk about what do you have to do to become a bracer, right? So what are these kids up to? What happens when they're literally 16 years old? What happens on that fateful day that starts us on the quest?
I do believe that they have to go take their bracer test exam, like their exam, correct?
They have a final exam, and this is when you really get to know more about the two characters, because the kid that was injured and adopted by the father earlier on, Joshua, he's kind of like a taciturn, chill, quiet, almost emotionless dude. Whereas Estelle, who is the main party player character, she's a little ginky. She's a little outgoing, but restless, ADHD-ish. And I'm not saying that to be insulting to other ADHD people. I am literally a convicted, that is not the word, no, I can't remember the actual word, a diagnosed ADHD haver, and she's definitely an ADHD type. She doesn't want to sit still to do a test, and when she finds out the final test is going to be a practicum, she's fucking excited because she doesn't have to sit around doing homework.
That part made me laugh so hard. She was so happy that it's not a fucking paper test.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, you mean we get to go do shit? All right. And I believe that they send you to the tower. No, I'm sorry. They send you into the sewers.
The sewers.
It's not the tower yet. And you have to go into the sewer, and this is where you can get your first kind of introduction into combat, is running into stuff down here. And combat's a little different in this game, but I really enjoy it.
It's kind of it's a hybridized combat system. Like, if you've played a game like Final Fantasy Tactics or Advance Wars, you might expect to see all the space in there and think it's like fantasy chess, and it's not that. It is not. It does not go anywhere near that fantasy chess zone, but the movement element does give it a little. It's a little bit more like a what if someone did a D&D 3 battle as it was actually written in the rules, instead of just, letting everyone say, oh, I'm definitely at that monster.
Yeah. Each person has like a movement area, and they have an attack range. So, Joshua needs to be within a square to hit the enemy, but Estelle fights, so Joshua fights with dual swords. Estelle has a staff, so she can whack one that's one square further away. And then, for example, later on, you get Sherazard, who I call Shara.
Oh, I should actually back us up for a moment. Before we even get in there, they do have a little bit of a segment where they want to walk you around the town and teach you all the stuff. And this is one of the things I think was really signature about this game, is it jumps you right into the vocabulary. Like, the moment you get started, they're like, you need to know all these words before they'll let you play the game. You need to know what a bracer is, what quartz is, what orbment is, what an orbal art is, what septith means. And, I don't think these words were really hard to learn, although some of them were strange, because obviously the game was made in Japan, so when they hear the word quartz, maybe they don't have the immediate association we have with crystal that they do, or that we do. But the quartz isn't the crystal. The quartz is the circuit. We'll get there. We need to talk about the aesthetic of the game pretty shortly. But I don't. Right now, just imagine a fantasy universe where there's a little bit of technical information, and there's also, you have to know the local words for everything. You need to know what the country you live in is called, and you need to know, the length. You don't need to know, but you'll learn quickly, like the length of measurement, the local currency, things like that. But basically what I'm saying is the game jumps you in with vocabulary. Like, it almost basically is like, here's the quiz, make sure you can play the game before you actually get control of your character. You gotta know what sepith means and shit like that.
Yeah, I believe that the place that you're in is called Liberal, isn't it? No.
Yes, and there's even a newspaper in town, and anyone who is even slightly 2000 generation is just like, well, that's the liberal news? You mean it's CNN? Ha, got him. But then I did play, there is a quest in the game called the Liberal Media, which means they already knew that joke was coming. We got owned.
I know one of the things you have to do is to go to, they introduce you to the general goods store, because you have to go there and get a newspaper for your dad while you're in town.
Yes, the Liberal News.
Yeah. And that was where they introduced that. And then from there...
That's also where they teach you about cooking.
Is it?
Yeah, because when you talk to him, he tells you about how you can buy ingredients from the store, and then you can buy the recipes from each restaurant. So there is a cooking element in the game. You can pick up ingredients, and I have up and down. Every time I talk about crafting, I'm like, I don't usually like crafting in games, but this, you know what? Maybe I just like crafting. Maybe I do.
That's how I feel about driving. I was like, like for a while I felt like burned out on racing games, but then like every game I played that had driving, I would drive around a bunch, and I was like, maybe I should just play some racing games.
Yeah, I don't like playing racing games unless they're either really arcadey or really realistic, or if I can hit a soccer ball with the car, or if I can flip upside down.
Oh. But so I don't remember what gets you to go there, but the Orbment Factory, you have to go in there at some point, and that's basically where you learn about your magic system, where enemies drop, I believe the enemies drop Sepith, which you can then turn into orbments and or use it to buy them or something along those lines. I'll get it down by the next episode.
A certain number of orbments can be crafted into either or a certain number of Sepith if each kind of element can be. So it's like there's like 8 elements of Sepith, 7 elements of Sepith, because it's like earth, fire, water, wind, and then like earth, fire, water, wind, and then
time.
Like mirage, time, and shadow or something like that. Like the last 3 are weirder, but like you need a certain number. You like to have 20 of everything to unlock a new slot for your character. And it's basically like materia slots. Yeah. It's like equipping materia. It's exactly like equipping materia. It's materia. Now that I'm talking about it, it's fucking materia.
Yeah, it's basically equipping materia. The more you use it, like the more you cast your spell, the stronger that spell will get over time. Like it'll kind of like level up. I believe that's how it goes. And
no, I think the thing I was trying to tell you early on is the more slots you unlock, the more MP you basically get. Although I think it's called.
Oh yeah, that too. Like the more, because then you'll have more spells to cast and all of that as well. Each one might affect your stats a little more. Like there might be one, like the attack one that I put on Joshua, gave him some plus attack and it gave him a fire spell. So they do have multiple, stat benefits as well as giving you new spells to use. And those spells, dude, they hit pretty hard. Some of them, if you against the right enemy, if you get the type right. Whoo!
Should we just jump to that then? Like the battle system, how that works? Or do you have something else in the plot you wanted to go to?
No, we can touch back on the plot in a minute, like once we get back to this.
So the way the combat works is, again, you're in like a field, you have like movement and attack and all that, but you also have arts and crafts. Crafts are moves that are unique to your character, and you gain crafts points by either hitting or being hit. You gain like 4 or 5 craft points when you hurt something. You gain 4 or 5 craft points if you get hit, even if you don't take any damage from it. Arts is your basically your MP based stats. And when you use those, there's also a bit of a timer delay on those. Like if you want to cast a healing spell like Tear on your teammate, it might put you down a couple slots in the rotation. Before
there's an actual cast time. Yeah.
It reminds me a little bit of Final Fantasy X or Final Fantasy Tactics in that regard.
And your other bar, think of it as like a limit break bar, because once it gets over 100, you can do your special attack, which pumps out some fucking damage.
The coolest thing about the S-break meter, in my opinion, is there's a button on the bottom of the screen that you can just hit. And if you hit that at any point in time when you have a character that has 100 or more craft points, it literally interrupts the order, so it inserts that character next to do their limit break move.
Which can save your fucking ass, believe me.
Yeah, because I feel like on average I found that move has done about as much damage as 2.5 attacks, roughly.
Yeah,
so it should one-shot most normal monsters, and stronger monsters, it'll put a bit of headway into them.
Yeah, one of the little side quests that I did was taking out a big monster on the Elise Highway, and
the pine plant?
No, it wasn't that. It was like this big like rhino-looking
thing. The rhino killer, yeah. I only just did that before we started this episode.
I went into that with 200 CP on both of them, so I just doubled it. 2 in a row of the S-break, and it never got an attack. It was over. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I deliberately farmed S-break what are they called? Craft points, so I could have at least 100 to use against the pine plant, because that thing was a lot more beefy than you would expect. Plus, it had that little surprise at the end of the fight that cost me my second run against it.
Definitely try to hit that thing from a distance. That's what I learned, is hit it with arts, because once you kill it, it blows up.
Oh, I just made sure my character's at 100% when I finish
that's fair.
Run, or third
that's
run. Because it only does half damage. It's just it does enough damage that both of my group were very hurt the first time. But yeah, again, we're talking about missions that are a little later in the not later, but after you pass. Let's finish talking about the bracer exam, shall we?
Yeah. So they take you down into the sewer, and you have to kind of navigate your way through, fight some of the enemies down there, and
You're told that you have to recover something from a treasure box that is somewhere in the
so
sewers.
you're looking for a treasure chest, which eventually you come upon it. You have to fight some monsters that are right there in front of it, and then once you open it, it is 2 junior bracer emblems. And
It doesn't tell you that. It tells you it's 2 small boxes. Estelle is
right, spoiler.
Let's poke around in the boxes, and then Joshua is like, hey man, they didn't tell us we can open it up. Let's just do this by the book or we might get failed. And it turns out that was actually part of it. Like, I don't know. I really... You said that this reminded you of Seed from Final Fantasy VIII, and I actually really agree. It kind of reminded me of that mission-based structure that Seed originally set up before the game didn't finish... It didn't follow up on that prospect.
Yeah. What Seed should have been. It's like the bracer. Yeah. And basically from there, you head back and turn in the quest, and Sherazard, is just like, yeah, good job, open your boxes. It's your little emblems that make you official. You're now junior bracers. You go get your paper. This is at the time where, or if you hadn't already gotten it yet, I had already bought it, but you can go and get your paper, and then you can take it back to your dad, and that ends basically, quote unquote, like day 1.
Well, we should say that what was in the box was your badge, so you get promoted to... You're actually no longer a student. You're now officially a junior bracer. And, even little kids come up to you like, hey, how's it going? You're like, oh, I'm a bracer now. Estelle was like so stoked.
Oh, yeah.
She's like, I'm a bracer. And it's like, Estelle, I just looked at the menu. Your rank is junior bracer 9th class. You need to slow your roll, girl.
Hey, she's just excited to be there, man. She's happy that she didn't have to sit down and do any more paper tests.
True.
But yeah, you get your emblems, like I said, and it's all gravy. And then you run back to your house, and Estelle's like cooking up dinner. You guys go in to tell your dad, here's your news, here's what happened, and he ends up getting like a note. I believe that the lady,
the receptionist at the guild sends you home with that letter to give to your dad.
And he opens it up and he's like, what? Oh man. So then at dinner, you guys are sitting around. I remember Cassius and Josh being impressed that Estelle made an edible meal, which cracked me up. And
Estelle's a pretty lovable character. Both of them are, but Estelle is obviously the main, and I don't know, I like her. She's nice.
She's a very sweet girl.
She's very impulsive, but, I kind of like that in an RPG compared to, your Link-type character that never says shit.
Yeah.
Like, Estelle always says what's on her mind.
Absolutely. She knows what's up. So, at the dinner, your dad, Cassius, is basically telling you, how good the food is and stuff, and then just drops it on you that he's got to leave for a while. And they're like, what? You always do this. You always just tell us and then you just leave. He's like, yeah, well, that's a bracer. You guys are now part of his job. And Joshua understands Estelle is more upset than Joshua, which goes back to Joshua is the more emotionless of the two.
Yeah.
And it just more stuff happens between the conversation, and they just promise that, he says, I want you guys to take over the jobs that I think you can handle, that I have left over, and the ones that I think are too hard for you, I'm going to give to Shara. All will be gravy. So he leaves and goes on the thing the next day. You guys see him off, and then you make your way to the Bracers Guild, and that's where you start doing the little side quests and stuff, doing your little Bracers Guild quests. And they range from, like I said, finding a lost cat to defeating a big monster, yada, yada, yada. And that eventually...
The cool thing is that when you check the billboard, there are optional missions in addition to the plot-based ones. So you can, help a small child find, a missing rock that he had and all that. You don't have to do these, but you get paid a little extra. And, I felt like in this game, getting more equipment really felt like it helped a lot. I feel like I'm really blowing this game badly because I'm not equipping myself out of battle as well as I should. Because, even the difference between the fact that I have Estelle with slightly better boots than Joshua means that Estelle was taking damage a lot better than him.
I will say that this game has, an anti-grind mechanic where, it won't let you over level.
Yeah, you do not get any experience points whatsoever out of lower or level enemies.
It is definitely, they want you to experience the game. They don't want they don't want it to be a grind fest. So they hand you experience when you need it. But yeah, the first major thing you have to go do, I believe, is going to talk to the reporter.
No, the farm is first.
That's right. Going out to the farm and having to figure out what is destroying their crops at night. And that just...
So you have some neighbors that are some of your oldest friends. This is one of the things I love about this game, is the town you're from. Is it called Roland? I think it's called Roland. You grew up in this city, you being Estelle, but also for the last 5 years, you as Joshua. You guys have grown up there, and you like are well known in that town. And like, even when you show up at the farm, they're like, you know, we knew you as kids. We'll put you up for the night. We'll feed you really well. Just help us figure this job out, you know? Like, I don't know, like, I really love the relationships the characters all had in the town.
There is a really, really good sense of world building and character building in this game, especially like...
Because, like, Liberal isn't even the biggest kingdom in its own continent. Like, it almost got adopted by the Aragonian Empire or something like that. The empire to your north, like, really wrecked Liberal for a while, and you're not even in the biggest city in Liberal. You're just like, you're in like the backwoods in the backwoods.
You're in like the small town type place.
And I thought that was really cool. You get to meet all these people and find out how you connect to all of them, and I thought that was a really neat.
Every time a major plot point happens, too, NPC's dialogue changes towards you. Like,
absolutely.
One of the first times I noticed it is when you first become a bracer. Everybody starts congratulating you on being a bracer. And they don't just like repeat what they said beforehand. Like, they have totally new dialogue, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, even the shops changed.
So out at the farm, you basically find out, you know, there's something fucking with the crops. It comes at night, so you guys hang out till nighttime. You end up chasing around this rabbit-looking thing. I don't know quite what it is, but it looks like a rabbit. And
it's called Crop Muncher. It's what it is.
Yes. And I think you have to fight 3 of them, and like, so
yeah,
you beat them down. Joshua wants to exterminate them. Estelle and the family end up deciding that that they think they'll learn their lesson and not come back. So you release them against Josh's better judgment, but it makes the family feel better. It makes Estelle feel better. So he's kind of like, whatever. So you're able to go report back to the guild, turn it in, successful mission, boom, give you some rank in your bracer log. And then from there, I believe you accept another mission to go to the mayor. No, the mayor's second. Yeah. And this is where you're introduced to this young girl. I do not remember her name. Gisette, that's right. I wanted to say Jessica, and I'm like, that's not right.
But you mean Gisette at the end of this mission, but I suspect she's important in the plot later on.
But he sends you to go to the Malga mine and go pick up a
huge ass septium crystal.
Yeah, you don't know quite what it is. He wants you to go pick up this thing from the mine. You end up having to go into the mine.
He tells you it's a huge ass crystal.
Does he? I must have skipped that. I was trying to catch up to where my save was at from before, and I think I have already surpassed it at this point. But so you get in there and you're talking to, you ride, talk to the miner. He tells you have to flip the switch to go over to get to the elevator. So you ride it back. You flip the switch. You then ride it to the elevator. The elevator's like, oh, you need a key. And it's like, oh, so you got to get on the elevator, ride it back, or the mine cart, ride it back, flip the switch, ride it over to the miner, talk to him. Get the key, ride it back, flip the switch, ride it back over. Luckily, it's not a long ride. I'll give him that. It's not a long ride.
Also, there is no random encounters in that part. So
yeah, it's just...
Actually, this game, for what we should mention, this game does not have random encounters. It has encounters, but you only see monsters when you get very close to them. And you can avoid them, for the most part. Like, sometimes there are bottlenecking areas.
Yeah, and if you try to run past them and they catch one of your teammates, it's going to put you in a not good position.
Right, that's also true. You literally get an advantage if you attack them from behind, and if they catch one of your party members from behind, you do take a surprise attack is what the game calls it. A preemptive attack.
And you'll be surrounded when you first start the battle, which sucks.
Yeah.
So you end up going down into the mine. You go down and find the mine chief. He gives you the stone. Estelle is just like, oh, it's so pretty, and like dances around with it. And Josh is like, could you not do that? Because you're going to break it.
Yeah.
And then there's a big rumble, and monsters start running at them. And they're like, oh, shit. So this is where like battles start beginning down here. And you have to run with the miner guy asks you to go help save his crew. So you have to run around these bottom areas and defeat all these monsters that have these different mine crews pinned up against the wall. And one in particular is really skittish and then hauls ass.
Yep. I don't know exactly where that's going, but I'm sus of
Yeah,
that dude.
that has not been explained yet. But yeah, once you finish up the mine stuff and go up, it shows a little cutscene of him kind of...
Because that dude was like, yeah, not only did he not expect to see monsters, he didn't expect to see bracers either. So he expected he was getting away with
And
something.
then he was to report it. He was like, I'm going to go report this. So I'm like, who is he reporting to? You know, so that's like the first question that I have about this game really is what is going on there? You bring the stone back to the mayor at this point, and you go in, and Gisette is in there, who looks like a Girl Scout for all intents and purposes. And...
Yeah, she's apparently a foreign exchange student. It would be the best way to describe her. She's like there to see all this stuff, and she's very polite and very cool. She's very nice. Everyone at the party likes her.
Yeah, and the mayor takes the stone, he puts it in his safe, and he bids you all adieu. You go and you turn in the job, and then you get the job to meet up with this reporter. And
I feel like everyone who is listening to this already can tell that things go badly with the stone. But we should also point out that the stone is definitely earmarked for good use. It is going to become a anniversary present for the 60th birthday of the Queen, I think was what the mayor talked about.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, obviously nothing bad happens to the stone, everybody. Just chill. Nothing bad happens. The stone's going to be great.
So you go ahead and you meet the reporter. His name is Niall. He's got a derpy little photographer with him, Dorothy. And they need you to take them up to the tower where you had to, at one point earlier, save the two little kids that went running off, which we skipped over, but that's fine because that's not a major quest.
Yeah.
So you guys head back to this tower. You end up climbing to the top. There's a dude hiding up there. And there's, to kind of just like breeze over a bunch of story that happens right here. Joshua feels kind of ill. There's this big fucking machine up there, which I'm sure is going to come back into play at some point. It's this old orbital stone machine thing that's like technology that they don't have anymore, as far as I know. And nothing really more is revealed about that other than like when you guys go.
Oh shit! Yeah, that actually maybe we should mention that. The orbital technology is implied that it came out within the last 100 years there. But it's also implied that about 1,200 years ago, some kind of technological apocalypse ruined everything.
Yeah. Which I find intriguing.
So you're in this universe that I would call arcane punk. It's like magical revolution, kind of the same way of the Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
But also it's implied something really bad happened, and I'm not going to be a huge spoiler by saying this. Pretty sure that whatever you're investigating today probably was caused by the same shit as what ruined the world 1,200 years ago.
Yeah, more than likely. So while you're up there, the girl's taking all the pictures and stuff, and Niall's kind of standing around smoking a cigarette, being a crotchety old guy, because that's basically all he is the crotchety old guy at the moment.
He's like 28. He's not that old.
I know, but they portray him as the crotchety old guy. Like,
no, that was like a joke in the game.
Because she keeps calling him old man, and he's like, "What the fuck? I'm not, I'm not that old, you little bitch." But you safely escort them. You bring them back, and I think you're going to turn it in to the Bracers Guild, and Shara wants to like celebrate with you guys, and it's like, "Come to the bar with me and drink." And
that's right.
Estelle's like, "What? So we can just sit around and watch you get hammered and make an ass of yourself?"
Nah.
Not
gonna do this.
And she's like,
good.
"Okay, that's fine. I'll bring Josh by himself."
What's up,
and
Josh?
she starts being real flirty. And the mayor comes busting in, and Josh is like, "Oh my God, Saved by the Bell," and so the mayor comes in. He is like out of breath, panting. Somebody broke in and stole the ornament. They're like, "What?" He's like, "I'm sorry. I know you just went and got it, but somebody broke in and stole it." So they had like tied his wife and his housekeeper up in the attic, and they went into his office. Now, this is where it becomes like a little investigation scene. You got to do some bracer work.
I liked this scene. This scene was fun. I enjoyed like just walking around, like looking at all the bookshelves, looking at all the things, and like seeing that one little mark on the second floor balcony.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I am clever. I saw this.
Yeah, I definitely enjoy the little clue finding.
Even though they heavily implied something in the past story,
Yeah.
They literally were like, there are sky bandits out there, by the way.
Yeah, they kind of do. Like, they kind of bring up in passing about the sky bandits that fuck around in this area of the world. And you, after doing a little research and everything, the person had dropped this leaf and while they were in the attic. That's and right, yeah. Shira's like, well, we don't have any real information to go on to try to find the person who stole this because you deduce who you think it is. And Shira is like, we need evidence. And Estelle's like, oh, I have this leaf. And it turns out that leaf is from this specific forest, which I do not remember the name of right offhand.
It's like it's the Lurkmeyer forest.
Anyway.
It's like the Mertz something.
Is it maybe the Malga? No, the Malga mine, not the Malga forest.
Malga's up north.
Anyways, though, you go into the forest and you have no map here. This is the first thing I noticed is there's no map, so you kind of got to wander your way around. And I know this is where you're at, so I apologize for the little spoilers that are coming your way.
No, it's cool. I got to the forest. I got a couple of fights in. I'm sure we're going to find out something huge happened very soon. Because the implication, I think, had been that your father had been investigating some kind of rebellion or some kind of strange uprising in general within the Empire, which is the northernmost kingdom that is very powerful.
And he was on his way to Bose, I think is what it's called. Like the speakers. Bose. And... so
that's also what I've been thinking this whole fucking time. I'm glad I'm not alone.
You roam through the forest and you come upon Gisette, and she's there with her little lackeys, and she just starts talking about how it was so easy to break in there and steal that. Like once she saw it when she was there, like she knew, oh my God, that's what I need to get in. So she went back in and stole it, and her little henchman helped her tie up the other people, and. She starts talking shit about Estelle. So Estelle immediately wants to go over there and start whooping ass. But I, as Joshua, told her, like, calm down. It'll be all right. Just chill. So we hang back. And then she starts talking about how stupid Estelle is and how Estelle could ever think that they would have been friends. And ha ha ha. She's so dumb. And Estelle's like, what was that, bitch, basically. And you guys come walking out. And they're like, oh, God, it's you. And then, boom, boss fight. It's a pretty... intense little fight. It's not, I wouldn't say it's like super difficult, but it can be hairy at times. You fight her and her 3 henchmen. Once you beat them, you're basically trying to wrangle them up. You get the orbment back from her. Like Estelle takes it back and puts it in her jacket, and then this big fucking airship comes in and lands, and Gisette's like, oh, y'all are fucked now. In nicer words than that, but she's like, yo, y'all are fucked now because now you're outnumbered, and we're gonna fuck you up. And which was weird because they outnumbered you in the beginning, but that is what it is, like whatever. But the dude in the airship gets out and he's like, yo, we gotta go to Bose. There's been something that happened. We gotta get out of here, like right now. And she's like, all right. And it's basically like, you haven't seen the last of me, Gadget. And she hops on the plane and they fly off. And so you go and return the orbment, and then from there you go back to the Bracers Guild and turn it in. The receptionist gets a phone call while you're there, and she is very disturbed by what she hears. You can tell. And when she gets off the phone, she comes over and starts talking to Joshua, Shira, and Estelle, and they're like, what's going on? You're never this disheveled. And she said, that was a call from the Capitol. an airship flying to Bose has disappeared, and no one knows what happened to it. And
no.
your father was on that airship. So then it goes into where I'm at now. That's where the prologue ends. Is it's like, boom, your dad has disappeared, and they're like, oh shit, and then it's like, would you like to save your game? You know, and it says end prologue. So like, you know, save there, and then that's where I ended. So it's a very heavy ending to the beginning of the game, but sets it up in I can see this valiantly being a cool story about two kids going out to save their dad type thing. Like, I think it could be cool.
Yeah. Dude, that's awesome. Shit, I'm sad I missed the very end. I really wanted to get on to record, so I couldn't finish the last, 15 minutes it would take to get.
Hey, it's all good, man. It's all good. I apologize for spoiling it for you, but I knew you weren't super far away, so I'm like, well, you'll see it in the next 10 minutes. There's still 30 hours left of the game to play. So
my feelings ain't hurt, and I don't think anyone that's listening to this is feelings hurt, because, honestly, I really thought when you were telling me, oh, well, something's going to happen pretty soon, I'm like, okay, the moment the airliner lifts off, then the plane is just going to fucking crash.
No.
I thought it was going to be sabotage or something.
No, it just disappears. It goes Amelia Earhart and it's just gone. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. So first thoughts from me, graphics, love them. Gameplay, love it. Story, love it. So far I'm really fucking enjoying this, personally. I'm obviously not going to give it a rating yet, but I am really looking forward to finishing this out. And then just knowing that, once this game's over, there's a bunch more in this same lore and canon, because all of these games tie into one another. As far as the Trails, just the Trails series, they all tie into one another. So it's going to be a fun ride over over the years when we're playing this, and it'll be fun, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Same. Shit, I'm not even very far into this game yet, and I'm already kind of a little bit hooked on it. It brings me back to a very pleasant. The music is so good.
Yeah.
The feeling is so good. I enjoy playing this game, and I'm just kind of hoping it keeps on keeping up with what it's given me so far.
For sure, man, for sure. And I think with that said, I will go ahead and run through some housekeeping, and we can get on out of here, because I know it is getting late for me and you both, sir, and I appreciate you recording with me a day late. I apologize to everyone. Mostly I apologize to Patreon. Everybody else will kind of get it on the normal day, but I was feeling under the weather yesterday, so we did not record. But anyways, if you would like to find us on social media and any of that jazz, pop over to bit.ly/the Steam Machine Podcast, and each word has a capital first letter. And that is our website. It's going to have the links to our Facebook, our Twitter. There's a link to the Discord on there. There's a link to the Patreon. If you'd like to become a Patreon, $1 a month gets you access to getting your episodes a day early, and you get to hear our general banter before the show starts. And if you'd like to do the $10 tier, you get a personal shout out on each episode, like Mr. Nate, Mr. Jeff, and Mr. Aries or Adam. The cogs in the machine that we mentioned earlier. Now, if you don't feel like going to the website, if you're like, man, I don't feel like doing that, but I would like to join the Discord, it is bit.ly/TSMP Discord, all caps, all capital letters, and we'd love to see you there. We ask everyone in the Discord to vote and on the games. So the games that you hear us talk about were voted on by our community in the Discord. We chat about video games, chat about food, chat about TV shows, whatever the fuck you want, man. It's a good community. Everybody's super chill. I am amazed at how varied our group is. We've got somebody from Japan, we got somebody from Australia, we've got somebody from Canada, we've got some USA people, we've got an English person, we've got somebody from Peru. It's wild to me that and somebody from Belgium, all of these different places. It's just amazing to me that all these people in these different places in the world like to hear us talk.
Hit us up, Africa. Hit us up, Antarctica. We got to complete our collection of candidates.
Yeah,
now.
Absolutely. We need to get them penguin listeners. No, there's no penguins in Antarctica. That almost sounds like an emo band song name. Oh, there's no penguins in Antarctica. Anyways, I'm off topic now. tsmpproductions.threadless.com if you want to get you an awesome ass Steam Machine Podcast t-shirt. I can vouch, they're really comfy. And I'm not just saying that. Like, if it was a piece of shit, I'd have taken the store down, because I'm not about that life. Like, I need good quality shirts. But yeah, I'm just rambling at this point. We love you all. Come join the Discord, vote, all of that jazz. Is there any recommendations you'd like to give at the end of this? Like a salad, some water, or anything?
Let me think. Man, it's like T.S. Eliot once said, "My name anagrams to toilets." Work it out yourself. It really does.
And on that note, as always, guys, take it easy.